It started really because when AWDF itself started, our donors were the big ones that they have remained, Ford, etc. And we realized that there was a constituency of well-wishers in the United States who didn't have deep pockets, but had willing pockets. The kind of individuals or small family foundations who could give, but who also needed the benefits of the US tax breaks, the tax laws and so on, who would need to have a record of that specifically for that purpose, to make it affordable for them to be sending money to an organization, a charity. And so that was really why, to register ourselves as a charity, targeting the community of well-wishers in the United States, the combination of, the African diaspora itself, small family foundations, and wealthy people with big but not super deep pockets. So we wanted to have a facility where we made friends and it was easier for them to give. That's basically it. The importance of 501c3s for the giving community in the United States. That's the simple version of it, so that people could find an easy way to give to an organization in Africa without too much headache. First of all, of course, the founders of AWDF, BC Adelaide Fayim primarily, because she was the executive director, but BC Auntie Hilda Tadri and Joanna Foster, in terms of they inspired everything those first few years. When they wanted to establish AWDF USA, though, the first person they turned to was the person who became our first chair, Barbara Phillips. She was absolutely instrumental. They knew Barbara, I think, from her Ford Foundation days, but certainly from her presence in the philanthropic world. And she had a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience and expertise about what we needed, how we needed to do it, and who could be the first people we could turn to. So I think having Barbara Phillips as the person who was our first chair, who got us together and so on, was critical. There were a lot of people with investments in us. At the time we started, Dorothy Driver was our treasurer, for example, and Dorothy was very heavily involved in the establishment of the Sirleaf Market Women's Fund. Because when that was started, AWDF was the sponsoring organization and they eventually became independent. But in the early years, there was a lot of synergy between the needs of the two. And Dorothy was very, very active in that. And then we had people, so I kind of think there were the people at the foundation, but then there were all the people who, what I call the long haul people, who saw us through the rough and the smooth. I'm not a prophet, I'm a historian. And so that's always very challenging. I asked that question some 5 years ago and you guys are answering it, It's Mami and Moyata who had the vision to find people like you who are there now. Some things don't change. I think we are going to have to keep on finding a way to attract younger women. The intergenerational continuity, the transfer is very important. I think that's probably the one thing I did manage to do. And you are going to have to do it. And you are doing it. I think that's absolutely critical. I think so long as we continue to have people like us who are interested in the future of women in Africa, we will survive. So I think the intergenerational transfer of knowledge and passion is absolutely critical. What we would look like as an organization, I find hard. I mean, I could not have told you 5 years ago how important becoming a digital organization would be to us, learning to survive. Actually, if we are honest, we wouldn't have known 2 years ago. I mean, we did a remarkable thing last year in reinventing ourselves. So I think we're going to have to be open to change, but not open to change for change's sake, but have to keep focus on why do we exist. Friend raising and fundraising. I think we've got really good at the friend raising. I think perhaps we need to develop stronger ways of fundraising and getting people to commit over the long haul. And we, traditionally one looks for people with deep pockets. I think we have a lot to learn from, Barack Obama. Okay. That is to say, I think we should perhaps organize ourselves to encourage ourselves, to give a, $1 $1 a day, or whatever it is that you can do. Start young and encourage high school students, college students to give, $10 a month during the semester, something. It's always the regularity, because then the giving will grow with our success. And also, we all find it hard to do, but I like the Christian principle of tithing. That is to say, I'm not saying everybody needs to give us 10%, but the idea of a percentage. That is, if you commit, okay, I'm giving 10% to my church, but I'll give 10% of what I give to my church to AWDF or something. Because then that'll get you used to, I'm earning $100, so I'm giving $1 to AWDF, I'm giving $10 to AWDF. Then when you earn 1,000, you can give the 100. And when you earn 10,000, you can give the 1,000. I think if we could get people to commit to that. I remember, for many years, I was a member of Riverside Church, and they had the cards, and they had the cards that said, if this is your income bracket, this is 1%, this is 2%, this is 5%, this is 10%. And it was easy. You could see what your comfort level was and keep to that. So I think if we could do something a little bit more like that, find some kind of campaign, not that we are thinking small, but that will encourage people to know that the widow's mite is always valuable, and every little bit you give counts. And that's why I mentioned Barack Obama. I mean, because Barack Obama got elected on an average giving of $20, wasn't it? I think it was something like that. I mean, not these $1,000 dinner plates that conventionally political campaigns. Barack Obama was elected by millions of people who gave $20. It's changed my life. I really think being invited to join AWDF and becoming one of the AWDF family has been one of the most important things that's happened to me. It has given me a practical place in a place that's in my heart. You know what I mean? It's like a form of willing service. It's a joy. Some years are harder than others, but you feel whenever you're doing something for AWDF or AWDF USA, you really are doing your little bit to help a community of people that you care about, and that includes you. And It's hard to quantify how important it has been to me. You know, as you know, I'm a very religious person. I join a church wherever I go. And so you understand what that means and the sense of community that gives you. AWDF has given me the same kind of feeling. You know, AWDF has given me the same kind of purposeful community feeling as joining a local church. And in this case, I don't mean as being a Christian. I mean as being part of a local church. That sense of you are part of a small group of people committed to doing something and trying to make it work. And some ideas are great, some are not so great, but it doesn't matter. It's the trying that counts. You care about each other. The people you're trying for care and are caring with you. Yeah, it's been very important.